Hey guys, my name is Nick and welcome back to the channel, and in this video we are catching up with our Fresh Force Challenge run by OG Paintworks and the Unprofessional Hobbyist, and we're going to catch up exactly where we've got to with my Primaris project. If you remember a little while ago, I'm painting basically 17 Primaris Marines. That's a captain, a librarian and 3 squads of intercessors, and that's pretty much where we're at. So let's catch up and find out where we're at, because mistakes may have been made. But before we get straight into the pictures and the progress, I'm putting it out to you guys that watch this channel, my subscribers and my viewers. Once you've seen the scheme, which is a desert-based scheme, I am after chapter iconography and a chapter name. So I'm putting it out to you guys. If you want to come along for the ride and help me name this chapter, and this project, this force, and maybe come up with some iconography that I can potentially get printed on decal paper that I can use for these guys, or if it's super simple, maybe I can hand paint it. I'd love to hear from you in the comment section below, or you can catch me on Instagram or Twitter, whichever you prefer. I'd love to hear from you guys. It's open to negotiation. But without further ado, let's get straight into the video. So a quick recap then, these are the 17 models that we were starting with from the first video, and all I had to do then was prime them black. I use High Coat for that, it's a cheap £3 a can. And then we're going to move on, and the base coat for this is Vallejo Earth, which translates to Steel Legion Drab in Games Workshop colours. Now I am going to have to mix this to put it through the airbrush, so that we can get a nice thin couple of coats with this, and I'm using that Tamiya X20A thinners. It's a slightly better shot of them primed so that you can see they're all ready to go. So back to the airbrush booth, and all I'm going to do is just lightly spray backwards and forwards several times, because this is quite a thin coat once you've mixed it with that thinners, and I just want to make sure I don't obliterate any detail or clog the airbrush. So several light coats. I'm not going to show you every section of this, especially with the camera focus leaping in and out, because it is, you know, you can see where the camera angle is. It's literally just right by my head and my hand. But you can see just going, you know, gently over these, and this can be a bit tricky. So what I end up doing is actually getting a rubber glove, a car mechanics glove, and then just picking each of the models up and then being able to spray from underneath as well. So we get all of that detail, all base coated in this colour, in this Vallejo Earth colour, or what was the GW one I said a second ago? Steel Legion Drab, that's the one, Steel Legion Drab. So whichever vendor or manufacturer of paint you've got, that's the one I'm using, and we can skip forward this bit. You don't need to see me airbrushing this one coat. In order to cut down on some painting time, I'm going with some Zenith highlights. You can see now I've adopted the rubber glove technique, and I'm not working in airport customs. So what I'm going to do for Zenith highlighting, or Zenith highlighting, that's whatever, look it up, Zenith. Basically what it means is spraying down at a 45-degree angle with the neck shade up. And the neck shade up from this is Talon Sand from Games Workshop, or the equivalent is Desert Yellow. So we're going to attack the model from about a 45-degree angle and just lightly coat it and just build up those colours. Because it atomizes, it dries very quickly, so you can actually see that colour change quite clearly on the screen, to be honest. Really focusing on some of those upper pauldrons, the backpack and the leg greaves, but just making sure that you come at it with that angle so that it leaves that darker colour naturally behind, causing or forming those shadows for you, so you haven't got to do any kind of super dark shading with this. So all I'm going to do is just do all of this across all of the models that I've got. In fact, I've only done 5 so far, let's be honest, but it's all part of the test scheme that I wanted to do. So I wanted to do one first, then sort of build up the squad, and then we can move on to the rest of the unit once I was happy. I'd rather have done that than not be happy with it and then have to reprime and start again. So just nice and gentle, just kind of light strokes across, just constantly rotating the model to catch all of those raised surfaces and making sure that you don't get any of sort of the underarms or any of the lower parts of the model. Now unfortunately I did fail to record some of the next steps just through sheer incompetence. But basically what's happened here is that in the recesses I've done a Reichland Flesh Shade wash, and that's gone in all sort of the nooks and crannies. It's a targeted recess shade, so I've deliberately applied to it rather than basically just wash the entire model in it. And this means you haven't got to go back over any of the panels and so on. Anything that you do splurge a little bit with a bit of bad hands or a fat brush, you can just tidy up with the base coat straight from the pot, but just make sure you thin it down, because hand painting any colour comes out slightly different to when you airbrush it. So you just have to be a little bit careful so you don't have to go over too much. Obviously I've blacked in the bolt gun, and I've also tested the base here. I've gone with, let me just grab it, it's Agrellan Earth, and that's just one of these crackle base paints from Games Workshop, and that's pretty much where we've got to here. So the next picture we're going to see is the highlight that we're going to apply, and we're going to use khaki for that, which from Games Workshop is Karak Stone. So that's going to be the next step. So with that edge highlight of Karak Stone applied, and you can see also on the shoulder pauldrons just those little lines in there, very Games Workshop style. I've also painted in the chest eagle in red. I've mirrored that detail on the eagle wing that's on the bolt gun. I've highlighted the bolt gun in a couple of shades of grey, nothing too tricky there, and also the pouches as well. I've gone with an Eshin grey, a Nuln Oil wash, and then highlighted up with just a light grey. I've stuck a little clump bit of foliage on the base, painted the base in black, although I'm not convinced that black is the right colour for this. And then with the eyes, all I did was paint them white, and then in the recess, once that's dried, I used the Citadel Glaze or Waywatcher Green, and that was it. And this is the update from the rest of the squad. This is the first 5-man squad. You can see I've pretty much taken all of the black bolt gun parts. I've done the base colours and just done the wash and blacked in the bolt gun. And the rest of the squad will be, will be done to the same standard pretty much as that first one, although they are missing some iconography. Now, this is where we get to the mistakes were made part of the video. Here's the update. There seem to be 6 other models in there, and 6 other models plus 2 other models. So I've now got a Dreadnought, a Repulsor tank, and 6 aggressors. Yeah. Mistakes were made. It was always going to happen. If anyone knows me, they knew that was going to happen. So there we go then, guys. That is the catch-up. We've got the test scheme. We've got some progress on the rest of that first unit. And as you saw, 17 models just wasn't enough for a challenge for me. So there are more to come. I've got that Repulsor going on. I've got the Dreadnought going on as well. And I've bought that new box set with all the new Primaris in as well. So yeah, expect to see this project already balloon, and it's already only the second video in this series. But yeah, 17 models just wasn't a big enough challenge for me, so we're expanding that, and we could probably expand it massive. Well, when I say massive, it's going to be a couple of thousand points, let's be honest. And if anyone knows me as well as they probably think they do, they're not surprised by this at all. So I hope you like the colour scheme I've gone for with this desert style. And just a reminder from the opening part of the video, I am looking for iconography ideas and chapter names for this force. Now, as a little bit of background, I do want to try and tie in to the Forge World Lucius, which is where my Legio Astorum Knights and Titans come from, and also my Mechanicus army, which is the Lucian, whatever they're called. They're the ones from the same Forge World. So I wouldn't mind tying in as part of the the Primaris expansion, or the Primaris founding from Rabute Guilliman, that these guys are going to be kind of either on an orbiting desert moon of some kind that's in and around that sector, that were there to reinforce and there to fight alongside. So if you could do some research for me, maybe on Lucius and that orbiting system, or whatever's in and around there, maybe tie the name into that, maybe look at some Latin names, something along those lines, be much appreciated. I'm trying to keep it chapter neutral, so I can use any of the traits or tactics from the Space Marine Codex. Give me alternative playstyles and mix and match, and with abilities and so on. But if you've got any ideas, I'd love to hear from you in the comment section below. But I hope you enjoyed the video, hope you like the scheme, and if you do, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I shall catch you guys on the next video.